Krishna Kirtana Gana Nartana Pari.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
All glories to Srila Prabhupada, and all glories to the Sankirtan mission of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. We want to welcome all of our God brothers and God sisters from around the world who are joining us this morning for Srimad Bhagavatam reading and discussion. As we progress along in time, reconnecting with our constitutional position as eternal servants of Krishna and our spiritual master, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, bona fide representative of Krishna. And I wanted to remind everyone that you still have time to present a Vyas Puja offering to Srila Prabhupada for publication on our website, HareKrishnaSociety.com. You can go there and take advantage of all the information that has been presented there on multiple topics for direction on a proper understanding of the process of devotional service. So we also have a very interesting, as you know, group page. If you're a member of that face group media is a way to, distribute information to others. So we use that medium as well. And there's lots of very interesting posts there from multiple people. And it's an opportunity to get some insights. And we have a bunch of contributors from our group in that medium. So it is also recommended. And we want you to also, here we have, I wanted to show you this again. This is our invitation card to our meetings. There it is there. It's an invitation card in English, and it says free online Zoom classes, self-improvement, mental health, self-realization, bhakti yoga. Mental health is a very big issue these days because people are going crazy in the Kali Yuga, completely insane. And the only way to have stable life is through Krishna consciousness and through discipline, the bhakti yoga discipline that enables us to rise up off the material platform of bodily consciousness, which is most people's disease, Vijaya Pandit. And that confusion is all pervading. It's a Kali Yuga. That's what we see going on every day is Kali Yuga. And it's moving at a very high rate of degradation. And at any moment, Prabhupada said there could be a nuclear war. Oh, yes. And if that comes, then everything is going to change, obviously, because of these karmic reactions that could take place due to sinful activity. In America, which is our neighboring country here, they had a recent convention. And in that convention, they were promoting abortions, and they were promoting transgenderism, and these kinds of topics. I've been discussing them with a few people, but it's really a symptom of atheism. It's not really a political issue for us. It's a transcendental issue based on truth, that the purpose of human life is not anything to do with these issues. The real purpose of life is to get out of the cycle of birth and death. Samsara davan nalalita loka. The spiritual master delivers us from this cycle of birth and death through service to him. And, life is very short. Hey, Vijay Pandit? We may think, I'll live on. I'll live on forever. No, we won't. Actually, it's very short. And we never thought we'd be this old a few years ago, but all of a sudden, there it is. Old age has appeared in front of us, and you have to be prepared through the practice of devotional service to leave this body and go back home, back to Godhead. And Prabhupada gave us the best formula, and that's what we try to share with other people. Yashodanandana Prabhu knows that. We're not fault-finding people when we point out the mistakes that have been made in his mission, philosophically. We're not fault-finding. We're not against these people that are on a path of destruction. No, we're not. But we're doing our best to try to explain it to innocent people that are coming to this mission. What is the truth of Guru Tattva? And I want to, before we go ahead with the diaries, I wanted to read a section from a lecture given in Vrindavan, India, by Srila Prabhupada on October 22nd, 1972, just to give us some insight on how he was explaining the truth to us in his lectures. And everything that the spiritual master speaks is Shastra. It's not just words. It's truth coming from Krishna through the transparent via media of the spiritual master. This is yoga system. The devotee sees Mataji through his eyes, or through his ears, sees through his ears. We see through the eyes, but they're very imperfect. But we see through the ears. This gives us vision, which we don't have. And that's why we pray like that the spiritual master forces open our eyes with the light of transcendental knowledge. So we'll read this. Let's see if I can find it. Therefore, Mom, committing so many mistakes, even scholars like Dr. Radhakrishna. So this is a lecture on October 22nd, 1972, in Vrindavan, India. Because they do not go through Tattvavit. There are so many political leaders who are commenting on Krishna's books without knowing Krishna, without any knowledge of Krishna. Just see their impotency. Without knowing Krishna, they want to make trade with Krishna. That is not very good. You cannot make trade commodity, Krishna as trade commodity. You cannot handle Krishna by your whims. Let you be handled by the Krishna's whims, then you'll be successful. Then my Guru Maharaj used to say that don't try to see Krishna, do something that Krishna may see you. This is wanted if you can draw a little attention of Krishna, yat karunya kataksha vaibhava vatam, kataksa vaibhava vatam, Prabodhanandana Saraswati says, if somehow or other you can draw a little attention of Krishna, your life is successful immediately. And how can you draw? Bhaktya mam abhijanati, simply by serving Krishna. Take service. Take to service of Krishna as it is ordered by the spiritual master. Because spiritual master is the representative of Krishna. We cannot approach Krishna directly. Yasya prasadad bhagavat prasada. If you have bona fide spiritual master, representative of Krishna, it is also not very difficult. Everyone can become a representative of Krishna. How? If you simply carry the message of Krishna without any adulteration. That's all. Just like Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, Amara Agyaya Guru Hana. You become a spiritual master under my order. So if you carry out the order of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Krishna, then you will become Guru. Amara Agyaya Guru Hana. Unfortunately, we do not wish to carry out the order of the Acharyas. We manufacture our own ways. We've got practical experience, Prabhupada says here. How a great institution, the Gaudiya Math, was lost by whimsical ways without carrying out the order of the spiritual master. They manufactured something and the whole thing was lost. So he's saying the entire Gaudiya Math was lost. And that's what's happened in the ISKCON group. It's gone away from the order of the spiritual master. It is irrelevant to all of us. It's lost. It's water under the bridge. Therefore, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur stresses very much on the words of the spiritual master. Vyavashyat mika buddhir ekeha kuru nandana. If you stick to the order of the spiritual master without caring for your own convenience or inconvenience, then you become perfect. Well, here's very important direction. Yasha deve para bhaktir yata deve tata goro taishyaiti katita hyarta prakashanti mahatmanaha. This is the confirmation of all authorities. We have to carry out very faithfully the order of the bona fide representative of Krishna. Then our life is Mataji successful, Prabhupada says. Then we can understand Krishna in truth. Vadanti tat tattva vidas tattvam. We have to hear from tattvavit, not from the so-called scholars and politicians. No. One who knows the truth, you have to hear from him. And if you stick to that principle, then you can understand everything very clearly. Thank you very much. The end. So some very deep insights here on our philosophy, coming directly from our spiritual master, Srila Prabhupada. Now we're going to look at the Jaladuta diaries. We're at the last page. We're at the back cover now of the diary. So we've gone through the first section. And very, very much great insight for all of us on the history of Prabhupada's journey to deliver the message of his guru, Bhaktisiddhanta. I'm going to read this section, the Jaladuta diary. A taxi stopped on a Calcutta dockside. outstepped His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. He spoke a few last words to a companion and then walked determinedly toward the gangway leading up to the deck of a ship. He was alone, a lone fighter. When he left, there was no one on shore to bid him goodbye. No friends, no supporter, no disciple, nobody. I was not his follower, but due to shared love, I had very much respect for him. So I was the only person standing on the shore to say goodbye to him. No one was with me. I could not know that it was such an important thing. Shir Bhattacharya. So this was his witness. It was August 13th, 1965, a few days before his 70th birthday. The Jaladuta was sailing to New York. On board, Srila Prabhupada carried only a few Indian rupees. I think it was 7 or 8 rupees. Can you imagine? Traveling to America with no money. But he did bring with him 200 sets of his Srimad Bhagavatam, as you can see the picture there, with Krishna Gatha on the screen here. In the span of 12 years that followed his journey, Srila Prabhupada went on to startle the world with his achievements. Yes. The Jaladuta Diary is a personal account of the challenging journey that launched a spiritual revolution throughout the world. Readers will find it to be a remarkable document in the history of religious movements as it reveals the full measure of Srila Prabhupada's devotion, faith, and selfless service to the Supreme Lord, qualifying him as one of the world's few genuine spiritual figures. And we're going to go to the front cover here. I wanted you to see this again. The Jaladuta Diary, the boat, the famous boat. There we have it. We've been studying from this. And this is a great benediction for us to be able to have this opportunity to have this insight while we're still alive and inspire us to carry on. Go ahead, Prabhu. Let's flip to the next photo. And here was the journey. See that? And if you look over there in the left-hand bottom corner, it says the dates indicate the places where the ship docked during the journey. So if you just go over there, you'll see Calcutta, Colombo, Cochin, the Suez Canal. Yeah, thank you. Boston and New York. So all this from the 13th of August to September 19th, this long, arduous journey. And look at all the stops there. Can you imagine how difficult that was for him? And as you know, he suffered heart attacks. Do we have another photo, Prabhu, that I sent over?
No, that's all.
Okay. So thank you, everyone, very much. And we'll move forward now with the reading and discussion with Yashodanandana Prabhu on this Sunday morning, 2 days before Krishna Janmashtami, for our spiritual enlightenment. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Love that beginning, by the way. So enlivening. Here we go.
Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Jamuna Tira Banachari Jamuna Tira Banachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Banachari Yamuna Tira Banachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Muspat Paramahansa Paribhrajagacharya Sittareshwara Samadhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Bhagavad Ki Jai Ananta Kodi Vaishnavin Ki Jai Ramacharya Shri Haridas Thakur Ki Jai Prem Se Kaho Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaur Bhaktivinoda Ki Jai Shri Shri Radha Krishna Mokh Gopinath Sam Khanda Radha Khanda Giri Govardhan Ki Jai Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai Navadvip Dham Ki Jai Ganga Mai Ki Jai Jamuna Mai Ki Jai Guru Dwarka Dham Ki Jai Swami Bhaktivinoda Ki Jai All glories to their Samari All glories to their Samari Thank you very much.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. O my Lord Sri Krishna, the son of Vasudeva, the all-pervading personality of Godhead, I offer my respectful obeisances unto you from Srimad Bhagavatam 1:1:1. Narayanam namaskrityam Narayanam namaskrityam Naram cheva narottamam Naram cheva narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Mudirayat Tato Jayam Mudirayat. One should utter the means of conquest, Srimad Bhagavatam, after offering respectful obeisances, 1, to the personality of Godhead Narayana, 2, to the Narayana Rishi, who is the supermost human being, 3, to the Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, then 4, to Srila Vyāsadeva, the author, from Srimad Bhagavatam 1-4. Welcome everyone to this reading and discussion on Srimad Bhagavatam, the exalted Bhagavat Purana, the foremost Purana. And as we do every week, we will be reading a few selected verses from the first canto, second chapter, with regards to the meaning and great benefit of hearing this powerful transcendental literature from Srimad Bhagavatam, second chapter. Trinvatam svakataha Krishnaham punyasravana kirtanaham hridyantastoya badrani vidunoti suritsatam. Sri Krishna, the personality of Godhead, who is also the Paramatma in everyone's heart, and the benefactor of the truthful devotee, does cleanse the desire for material enjoyment in the heart of the devotee who has developed the urge for hearing his, Krishna's messages, which are themselves virtuous when properly heard and chanted. Text 18. Nashtaprayeshu babadreshu nityam bhagavata sevaya bhagavati uttama shloke bhaktira bhavati naishtiki. By regular attendance in the Bhagavatam class or rendering service unto the pure devotees, all that is inauspicious in the heart of a candidate becomes destroyed almost to nil, and thus loving service unto the personality of Godhead, who is praised with transcendental songs, comes into being an irrevocable fact. Text 19. Tadarajastamo bhava kama lobhadayaschaye chetayete ranabiddam stitam sattve prasidati. As soon as irrevocable loving service is fixed up in one's heart, at that time the effects of the nature's mode of passion and ignorance, such as lust, desire and hankerings, etc., do disappear from one's heart, and he becomes fixed up in a mode of goodness, which makes him completely happy. Evam prasanna manaso bhagavad bhakti yogatah bhagavat tattva vijnanam mukta sangasya jayate. Thus, when one is positively fixed up in a mode of unalloyed goodness, the enlivened mind and man affected by contact of devotional service of the Lord can positively know scientific knowledge of the personality of Godhead in the stage of liberation from all material association. Text 21. Vidyate hridaya grantis chidyante sarva samshayaha kshiyante chasya karmani drishtaye vatmanishwari. The knot of one's heart is thus pierced, and all misgivings are cut into pieces. The chain of fruitive actions are terminated, along with the seeing of oneself, the dominating factor. So again, welcome everyone to this reading and discussion on the Srimad Bhagavatam. This is a very important discussion. Every week we read from this book, this transcendental literature, which was very much recommended by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself. This week we will be reading from Canto 1, Chapter 5, text number 26. Tatra anuham Krishna kataha pragayatam anugrahena ashrinavan manoharaha taha shraddaya me anupadam vishrinvataha priyashravasya mama babadruchihi. Tatra, thereupon, anu, every day, aham, I, Krishna kataha, narration of Lord Krishna's activities, Pragayatam, describing, anugrahena, by causeless mercy, ashrinavam, giving oral reception, manoharaha, attractive, taha, those, shraddaya, respectfully, me, unto me, anupadam, every step, vishrinvataha, hearing attentively, priyashravasya, of the personality of Godhead, anga, o Vyāsadeva, mama, mine, abhavat, it so became, ruchihi, taste. Translation by Srila Prabhupada. O Vyāsadeva, in that association, and by the mercy of the great Vedantists describing the attractive activities of Lord Krishna, I could receive them by oral reception, and thus, hearing attentively step by step, my taste for hearing the personality of Godhead became manifested. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. Lord Sri Krishna, the absolute personality of Godhead, is not only attractive by personal feature, but also he is attractive by his transcendental activities. It is so because the absolute is absolute by his name, fame, form, pastimes, entourage, paraphernalia, etc. The Lord, out of his causeless mercy, descends on this material world and displays its various transcendental pastime as human being, so that the human being attracted towards him thus become able to go back to Godhead. They are naturally apt to give oral reception to histories and narrations of various personalities of mundane activities, without knowing that by such association of mundane affairs, one can simply waste valuable time of one's life and also become addicted to the three qualities of mundane nature. I lost the track here. Instead of wasting time in such mundane qualitative affairs, one can get spiritual success by turning the attention to the transcendental pastimes of the Lord. By such oral reception of the narration of the pastimes of the Lord, the hearer contacts directly the personality of Godhead, and as explained before, by hearing about the personality of Godhead from within, it causes clearance of all accumulated sins of the mundane creature. Being cleared of all sins by such oral reception of the narration of the pastimes of the Lord, the hearer gradually becomes liberated from the mundane association and become attracted in features of the Lord. Nārada Muni has just explained this practical facts by his personal experience in the past. The whole idea is concentrated on the point that simply by hearing about the Lord's pastimes, one can become one of the associates of the Lord. Nārada Muni, who has eternal life, unlimited knowledge, and unfathomed bliss, with access of traveling all over the material and spiritual worlds without any restriction. One can attain to the highest perfection of life simply by attentive hearing of the transcendental pastimes of the Lord from the right sources. As Sri Nārada heard it from the pure devotees, Bhaktivedantas, in his previous life. This process of hearing in the association of the devotees is especially recommended in this age of quarrel, Kali. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshuranmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Namah. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamin Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Bhakti Siddhanta Shishyaya Bhaktivedanta Namine Prasannaya Prashantaya Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Bhagavad Vandanam Kadhyam Guru Vandana Purvakam Kshiram Sharkara Yuktam Kadati Visheshataham Adadana Strinam Danter Idam Yachi Punaha Punaha Srimadurupa Padam Bhoja Dhulisyam Janma Janmani Amsho Bhagavato Smyaham Sadadaso Asmi Sarvata Tat Kripa Pikshagonityam Tat Preshta Sat Karomi Svam Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. In this particular purport, Srila Prabhupada is dealing with a theme that he repeats constantly throughout his teachings and his book. And everybody knows it is the topic of submissive oral reception from proper authorities. And this is a very, very important. If we look at the end of this purport, the last two sentences, Srila Prabhupada says, one can attain to the highest perfection of life simply by attentive hearing of the transcendental pastime of the Lord from the right sources, as Sri Nārada heard it from the pure devotees, Bhaktivedantas, in his previous life. This process of hearing in the association of the devotees is specially recommended in this age of quarrel, Kali. Now, this is a very, very essential point. We've often discussed as part of this program, one of the most important exchanges in the Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita described by Srila Kaviraj Goswami. Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami relates the meeting of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Ramananda Roy. And as everybody knows, in that meeting, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself, when Ramananda Roy quoted a verse on this exact topic of hearing the Srimad Bhagavatam from self-realized souls, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu approved. This hearing process is very, very important. We hear from the Srimad Bhagavatam, it says, Travanam Kirtanam Vishnu, Smaranam Padasevanam. Of the 9 processes of devotional service, the first process is to hear. Now, the Bhagavad Gita gives a recommendation that this hearing process should not be done in a challenging attitude, in a challenging mood, but in a submissive oral reception along with surrender and service. And this is how we can make actual progress in spiritual life. This is the actual progress. It is not difficult to understand. It is not complicated to understand. But some people have difficulty with this process. Just like recently, we received some communication from a devotee who was a former well-wisher and friend, but he seemed to have a difficulty understanding what is the process of spiritual advancement. I'm going to read here from a statement of Srila Prabhupada. This is a conversation with Srila Prabhupada with Shyamasundar regarding the philosopher Hegel, Hegel. Prabhupada says, just like there is an English proverb, Caesar's wife must be above suspicion. So anyone who is on the position of teacher, he must be above suspicion. That is our first acceptance of teacher. We don't accept any teacher who is under suspicion. How he can be teacher if he's under suspicion? Now, they may question that if you are above suspicion. No, I'm not above suspicion, but I'm carrying the message which is above suspicion. Therefore, I am above suspicion. The peon delivering you $400, he's not rich man, but he's actually delivering $400. That is our position. I may be rascal, it doesn't matter, but because I'm carrying the message, which is not rascal, therefore I am fit. We don't say anything rascaldom because we don't say anything which is not spoken by Krishna or by authorities like Vyāsadeva. That is our position. Don't teach anyone else except what Krishna teaches. Krishna says, surrender unto me. We say, surrender unto Krishna. Just like Shyamasundara's daughter, she says, do you know Krishna? No, I don't know. She may be child, but the message she's delivering is perfect. The message she's delivering, that is perfect. She says, Krishna is the supreme personality of Godhead. Now, the child may not be perfect. That's all right. But the message she's giving, it is perfect. So there is no suspicion about the message. That message is above suspicion. So our position is you don't change it. Now you think about this. Some people misunderstand and accuse Vishwakarma and myself that we're trying to be the next acharyas, we're criticizing this, we're doing that. Why do you open your mouth so much? Okay. All we're trying to do is what Prabhupada describes here. What is that? Simply present the message which Srila Prabhupada has given. And how did Srila Prabhupada end this conversation? So our position is you do not change it. It is not our business to adulterate or change the message given by Krishna or his pure devotee. Now, this story that Srila Prabhupada relates here about Shyamasundara's daughter is very significant. I personally was in Prabhupada's room in 1972 during the Nectar of Devotion lectures. And Prabhupada's room in Vrindavan at the Radha Damodar temple had a situation where there was a little window there where you could see what was going on in the courtyard of the temple there. So this young girl was going to the Bengali gentleman. Those of you who are familiar with this temple, you know the ladies wear very nice Bengali saris, and the gentlemen have got these very fine, high quality Bengal dhotis, very high quality. So she would go to these gentlemen and pull on their dhoti. So they would look at her. They would look at her and they would see, and then she would ask them, do you know who is Krishna? And they would look in this puzzled look at this little girl, and she would say, Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and they would laugh. So Prabhupada one time in his room, he said, she's Guru, because she's presenting exactly the message she has heard from me, simply that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Now, as we advance in spiritual life, it's important to note that Srila Prabhupada, for example, if we take the Bhagavad Gita, chapter 10, text number 8, Srila Prabhupada gives a very detailed description of so many different scriptural quotations how Lord Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, from the Vedas, from the Upanishads, various Puranas. And this is the duty of the Acharya. This is the business of the bona fide Acharya, to present the teachings of Krishna according to time, place, and circumstance. Why Prabhupada was successful? Because Prabhupada many times was asked whether or not he has any special magic power. And Prabhupada would say, oh, I don't have any magic power. My only power is that I'm just presenting the message of Bhagavad Gita as it is, as I've received from my Guru Maharaj. That's why Prabhupada called his Bhagavad Gita as it is. It is not just Bhagavad Gita. It is Bhagavad Gita as it is. Why did he choose that? Prabhupada explains in the beginning of the Bhagavad Gita itself that there are many editions of the Bhagavad Gita, but he found it difficult to recommend any edition that was true to the actual meaning of the Bhagavad Gita. We are reading the Bhagavad Gita, chapter 11, on Saturday, and there are so many descriptions of wonderful prayers by Arjuna to Lord Krishna. Although Arjuna was Krishna's friend, after seeing the universal form, he was realizing that this friendship with Krishna was very, very special. Very special. Therefore, he recognizes Krishna's greatness. And this is very important for devotees, to understand how to present Krishna as given by Srila Prabhupada. We can't say, I'm a Krishna devotee, I'm a member of the Krishna consciousness movement, I'm a follower of Prabhupada, this and that. But if somebody asks a question, we have to be able to explain. We've seen this especially in India. When we first went to India, people thought that these people don't know anything. They're just dancing white elephants. But if you can give them some knowledge of Bhagavad Gita, actual quotes from the Bhagavad Gita, then it is a very different story. Why? Because Srila Prabhupada, as a pure devotee, is able to present and empower any person who surrenders to him to present this philosophy to others. It is not that we are so great. That is not the issue. It is not that we are trying to be the next Acharya or Acharyas. No. We are simply trying to present the message as we have received from Srila Prabhupada. Now, in the Srimad Bhagavatam itself, in the first canto, we've seen in chapter 3 how the great sages of Naimisharanya were congratulating Sutta Goswami for presenting the Srimad Bhagavatam. And they're very important, a few Sanskrit words, yataditam yatamitihi, as you have heard it and as you have received it. In other words, Sutta Goswami heard the Srimad Bhagavatam from Shukadev Goswami, and he's just presenting the same message. Shukadev Goswami heard the Srimad Bhagavatam from his father Vyāsadeva. Vyāsadeva heard the message of Srimad Bhagavatam from Srila Nārada Muni. Just yesterday, before the class, whenever I get time, I send a little email called Potential Supplemental Material for the specific verse that we will be reading. And I put different pictures of Nārada Muni meeting Vyāsadeva and chastising him. And it's quite important because sometimes people will misunderstand some of Srila Prabhupada's statements, especially in various conversations. Srila Prabhupada sometimes chastises his followers, his students, the general public. Just like yesterday in our Bhagavad Gita discussion, Vishwakarma Prabhu made a reference to Bhagavad Gita chapter 7 about 4 classes of men that do not surrender to Krishna, that reject Krishna. That's very important because if one thinks that Krishna is an ordinary person, avajananti mam mudha manushim tanumashritam. Krishna says, those who think that I'm just an ordinary human, they are mudhas, fools. So in this Bhagavad Gita, he explained 4 classes of men that come to him and 4 classes of men that reject him. And one of these classes, very important, is the educated class called Mayaya Aparita Jnana. Those whose knowledge has been stolen by the illusory energy. Now, this is very important because there are many people who are very educated, scientists, philosophers, very educated persons, but due to an atheistic temperament, they do not accept Krishna. They do not believe in Krishna. They do not believe in God. So Bhagavad Gita gives a warning to these persons that these persons, dushkritina, muda, mayaya paritajnana, they're in a very dangerous position. And we have to recognize such persons and also try to help them. Srila Prabhupada has presented Krishna consciousness from so many different angles. Anybody who is familiar with that little book that Life Comes from Life, Prabhupada is presenting so many different arguments about the science of the soul, the origin of the universe, the origin of life. And it's very well argued and presented. And he's encouraging his disciple, Swarup Damodar and other scientist disciples, to preach in the scientific field, to present this knowledge, to explain this Tattva Gyan or Tattva Atma Gyan, called Atma Tattva or Jiva Tattva, the science of the soul. If we look at Bhagavad Gita from chapter 2, text 11 to about text 40, it's all about the description of the soul. What is the soul? What is the symptom of the soul? What is the size of the soul? What happens to the soul at the time of death? And what happens to the body? So this is very important for devotees to be very familiar with this point. How many times have we heard Srila Prabhupada present this verse from Bhagavad Gita, chapter 2, text 13, Dehinosmin yata dehi kaumaram yovanam jara. Prabhupada constantly was presenting this verse and explaining it from so many different angles of vision. Why? Because Prabhupada could see, especially in the Western countries, that people do not understand what happens to their body at the time of death. In one conversation with Korandar and other devotees were presenting the arguments that materialistic people and scientists would present. Yeah, we can see all the changes of the body, but we don't see the ultimate change of the body at the time of death. And Prabhupada says, well, why do you rely on your imperfect senses? There's so many things you can't see in this world. There's so many different things you cannot perceive in this world, but they still exist. Because this is the disease of the conditioned soul, to rely on his own senses and his imperfect sense perception. That is why in the Bhagavad Gita itself, it is described, Ascharyavat. The word there, Ascharyavat, is given in the second chapter, that some persons, even after they hear the science of the soul, they still are amazed. They don't understand. We see this. You can explain it in every conceivable detail. And Prabhupada says, because they are conditioned. They are dull-minded. And this dull-minded is due to sinful activities, vikarma. People often talk about karma, but there's also vikarma, the general sense of karma, that you get an opposite reaction. Well, one can get very bad reaction if one engages in vikarma or prohibited activities. That's why in the Bhagavad Gita, in the later chapters, Krishna explains, Karanam guna sangasya sadasat yoni janmasu. Why are people at so many different positions in life? Different bodies, different situations, different varieties. Why doesn't everybody look the same? Why? Because of past activities in association with the modes of nature. And the foremost danger of association with the modes of nature is what you are eating. What you are eating, how you engage your tongue will determine your future and your future life. That's why in the Padma Purana, Prabhupada used to always quote, Atasri Krishna Namadi, Nababed Grayamindriyai, Sevanmukehi Jivadu Swayam Eva Spuratyadaha. That in order to understand Krishna, one cannot understand Krishna with these blunt material senses. One can only understand Krishna by purified senses. Well, how does that happen? How to purify the senses? Swayam eva. Krishna will reveal himself if you engage jiva. Jiva means the tongue. Engage in taking prasadam off, foodstuffs offered to Krishna, prasadam, and vibrating the name of Krishna and Krishna Katha. This is very important. And one can learn this science by submissive oral reception from authorized sources. That is why Prabhupada so many times emphasizes no change, no adulteration, no concoction, no fabrication. We want original teachings, original books, original method of offering the bhoga, original method of offering the artik, original kirtans. This is the power of the acharya. And one cannot make the argument, oh, but the Hindus like it, or Prabhupada said any tune can be used for Krishna. Well, that's true. You can use any tune. Why not use the tune that is favored by Krishna's devotee, Krishna's pure devotee? Why not use the teaching as given originally by Krishna's pure devotee? That is the power of Srila Prabhupada. That is the power of Srila Prabhupada. Just yesterday, I had a conversation late last night with a devotee who kept asking me, where is it in Prabhupada's teachings that he talks about having many, many followers? Prabhupada said, reporter, do you know how many followers there are in the United States now? Srila Prabhupada, unlimited. Some of them admit, some of them do not admit. That's all. Everyone is eternally servant of God, but some of them admit and some of them do not admit. That is the difficulty. But anyone who does not admit is servant of somebody. That is a fact. He cannot be master. Everyone is servant, but one who knows that I am servant of Krishna, his life is perfect. That's all. Please try to understand this point that everyone is servant. Even your president is servant of the nation. So nobody can say that I am no one's servant. He's servant, but he does not know that actually he is the servant of the Supreme Lord. That is ignorance. We're just eradicating this ignorance, that you are servant, but you admit that you are servant of God. That will make your life successful. That's all. Therefore, I say that there are unlimited followers. Some of them admit, some of them do not admit. That is the difficulty. But if anyone comes to me, I shall make him to admit. This is a conversation in San Francisco on July 7th, 1970. Thank you very much. Wonderful to be amongst all of you. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Your sound.
I turned myself off. Thank you very much, Yashodanandana Prabhu. And Prabhupada did mention in a lecture I was listening to this week that he was being celebrated as performing miracles. He was saying that everywhere I go, people are saying you've created miracles. Now, what that miracle was, that he took people that were basically born in the Western world without any previous training in Krishna consciousness and awakened their dormant understanding of their eternal relationship with Krishna and turned them, as the phrase was coined, into dancing white elephants. So this was, he said, this was his only miracle, that he was able to present the philosophy of Bhagavad Gita without any change. I do not know any miracles, but I did not change anything. And in this way, the transcendental potency of the philosophy of Krishna consciousness could wake people like us up out of this comatose situation we're in, that we are unaware of what human life is for. And I mentioned yesterday, everyone, this wonderful talk by Govinda Dasi that I recently had a chance to see online. And she was relating her early pastimes of serving Srila Prabhupada in the 60s. She had that opportunity to be his personal secretary and assistant. And in this talk, she confirms how Prabhupada was very serious about no one changing anything that he was teaching to us in order to preserve its integrity. And Prabhupada further explained, where is the authority of a scripture that's been changed by a third-class man? Well, you have a third-class person trying to interpret the philosophy of a first-class devotee. It's not. There is no authority to it. It's simply bogus. And you know that we do speak about that, everyone, all the time, about always reading the original, unedited, unadulterated books of Srila Prabhupada, because there's deep meaning in every word. In this, as some of us know, and some of you by birth know, the meaning of Sanskrit, there are multiple meanings for each word. And this is called Shruta. Statements of truth that have to be carefully understood by the disciple, carefully understood. And Prabhupada painstakingly presented the philosophy for our benefit. And when you read the books, when you start to really appreciate them, you see the Prabhupada speaking directly to you. He's not speaking to everyone. He's speaking specifically to you when you read them, because they're meant for you. And this principle of hearing is very important, to study these books carefully, because they reveal the spiritual world to us. They do. And in this way, we have hope in the future that we can become emancipated from this material body, which is a place as we all experience a place of real misery and suffering, especially not only the body itself, but the mind. Nowadays, people are suffering mentally. There's so much mental illness, and we know that. I have a friend, she's a pharmacist, and she's gradually learning about Krishna consciousness, but she's telling me about her work at the pharmacy. And Prabhupada was a pharmacist as well. And the prescriptions for pharmaceutical drugs for people that are mentally disturbed are over the top being sold. People are on all kinds of pharmaceutical drugs because they're mentally sick in the head. They're lost in this material world of confusion. And the biggest disease is the mental diseases that people are suffering. How do you solve the mental problem with a drug? You don't. You cover it up. You can't solve it. The mind has to become purified through transcendental sound. And garbage information is entering into people's minds every day. If you read the newspaper every day, what is the value in what is being written in Mataji? What is the value in what's being written in the newspaper every day? Nothing. Zero. You take that paper at the end of the day and you throw it in the garbage. That's what you do. This mundane babble that's going on is simply a contamination for all of us. And it can be a confusion, just like people in the political world. They're so confused, very, very bewildered. They have no depth of understanding of what the purpose of human life is because they've never been enlightened. Enlightenment means transcendental knowledge. So this hearing from the spiritual master is because Prabhupada spoke these books. Govinda Dasi was speaking, explaining that. We all knew that. I mean, we all knew that he was using a dictaphone. And then because he was working rapidly to produce the books, but he was speaking from train of thought. And Yashoda Nandana presented the fact to us that Prabhupada had an extensive library of books that he was also referring to when he was translating or delivering the messages to us. So he spoke this. And Prabhupada was the transparent via media for Krishna. We had that realization when I first met Prabhupada in 1971 in Detroit. We went out to the airport. I won't go through the pastime right now in detail, but I can remember sitting there in the crowd looking. I was afraid to look at Prabhupada. I thought, oh, I'm not qualified. I can't even look at this pure devotee representative of Krishna. But we had the stark realization that when Prabhupada spoke, he wasn't speaking. Krishna was speaking through him. So this is why Govinda Dasi very carefully explained to us how these books are not of this material world. Prabhupada would tell us, as we all know, that when he would listen to the books being read back to him, he would say, I did not write these books. Krishna wrote these books. This knowledge, it's not books, it's the knowledge. The books are the medium to transfer the information to us. We all know that. It doesn't matter, Mataji, if you're in university. When we went to university, what were we supposed to do? Study the books of others, the knowledge of others. But it's garbage. It's not going to save you at the time of death. You'll go to hell if you follow that karmi life. It won't save you. But this literature, given by Srila Prabhupada in his transcendental literatures, and not only in his literatures, in the thousands of lectures that he delivered. I wanted to refer everyone to this ISKCON Bangalore tape ministry. It's quite good. I had a chance to listen to some of the lectures, and I always look for it online. It's a tape ministry, and what they do is they read the verse and they read the purport, and then they put a lecture on from Srila Prabhupada, and it's a really good representation of the speech that he gives, because these speeches, sometimes the recordings aren't very good, so it's not very clear. They've done an enhancement for them, so you can hear the lecture, but there's thousands of lectures online you can listen to, and every word, it's amazing to see how deep the words of Srila Prabhupada are when he speaks them to us, when we're listening carefully to his voice. Remember, it's a personal relationship between you and him. It's not all about us, it's about you and him. He's speaking to every living entity and trying to wake them up out of the illusion that they think they're the body, they're the mind, that they're these possessions that they possess, that they're a particular nationality. I'm a Canadian, I'm an American, I'm rich, I'm poor. When you die, you're zero. You're nothing, and everything leaves you. The only thing you take with you is your karma. And by the process of devotional service, the association of devotees, the association of the pure devotee, the honoring of prasadam on a daily basis, and the spreading of Krishna consciousness in your own jurisdiction the best way you can, will be the process that will save you from repeated birth and death. And this is the greatest mercy that anyone here in this human form of life can get. Yashodanandana Prabhu, please, if you could further explain.
Very important points which are being raised here. Very important. Now, a question was addressed to me recently.
Mm-hmm.
What about if we are seeing that some persons do not represent the teachings of Prabhupada purely? In other words, if somebody does not represent the Acharya or the original Acharya, because we are preaching that Srila Prabhupada is the original Acharya in the Krishna consciousness movement, and anybody who claims to be a follower or a student or a disciple of Srila Prabhupada should present Prabhupada as he is. Not manufacture of idea, not change his teachings, not change his instruction. So I'm reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 4, text number 1. Canto 1, Chapter 4, text number 1. Srila Prabhupada explains, personal realization does not mean that one should out of vanity attempt to show one's own learning by trying to surpass the previous Acharya. He must have full confidence in the previous Acharya, and at the same time, he must realize the subject matter so nicely, that he can present the matter for the particular circumstances in a suitable manner. The original purpose of the text must be maintained. No obscure meaning should be screwed out of it. Yet it should be presented in an interesting manner for the understanding of the audience. This is called realization. The leader of the assembly, Shaunaka, could estimate the value of the speaker, Sri Sutta Goswami, simply by his uttering yataditam and yatamati, and therefore he was very glad to congratulate him in ecstasy. No learned man should be willing to hear a person who does not represent the original Acharya. So the speaker and the audience were bona fide in this meeting, where Bhagavatam was being recited for the second time. That should be the standard of recitation of Bhagavatam. so that the real purpose can be served without difficulty. Unless this situation is created, Bhagavatam recitation for extraneous purposes is useless labor both for the speaker and for the audience. What's to be noted here was Prabhupada said, no learned man should be willing to hear a person who does not represent the original Acharya. Very clear. Hare Krishna.
Yes, very clear. And we have that situation where people have concocted a system of guruship in the ISKCON group. It's simply concoction. And when you meet these people that are pretending, posing, and posturing to be Uttama Adhikari, it becomes obvious to those who are conscious of Guru Tattva that they are misleading and misrepresenting other people for their own personal purposes. And this is mundane and very unfortunate. This has been going on forever in all religious groups. It doesn't matter if it's just the Krishna movement. It happened in the Gaudiya Math. Prabhupada, I read that earlier today. So all these people broke the society, the Gaudiya Math, down and then separated everything into individual groups and cults. So the same thing has happened in the ISKCON group. It's been broken down into individual groups. Sridhar Swami told us in a writing that he was a form breaker, not a form maker. And the godbrothers, our godbrothers, went to him for advice, and he gave them the advice how to break the movement apart, and they've successfully done that. So there's Krishna West, there's Krishna, Hare Krishna Life, there's all these different groups, corporations, different enterprises, private bank accounts, private projects, specifically for each of these fabricated ISKCON gurus. And this is a tragedy. We've got a lot of people here today on the program, and thank you for participating. And I wanted to call upon one of our godbrothers, Bhakta Ron Singh in Sacramento. Maybe he could share some insights today, Bhakta Ron Singh, on Krishna consciousness and how to understand the philosophy properly through the association of the pure devotee, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. Bhakta Ron Singh. Maybe he's away from the microphone. Let's go to Krishna Katha in Sacramento or San Diego. Maybe he could share some thoughts with us.
Hare Krishna Prabhus, all glories to Srila Prabhupada, and all glories to your great class. Again, so spot on. And the purpose of repeating this message that you and Yashodanandana do so nicely 3 times a week is because if we don't hear it over and over again, the tendencies of this change disease can set back in. We have this false ego that tends to think we know better. And this is what's happened to, the last 45 years as devotees have been handed these responsibilities, and they just default to their training, which is, I need to change this so that it looks like I know what I'm doing. But if we had just stuck to the program of being a parrot, just repeating the spiritual master's message, then the course that Prabhupada's beautiful ISKCON would have taken, would have been much more like it is when we remember it. And instead, there was so much deviation. So I am a stand, and my request is that we just move on from the past. Because honestly, I have been stuck. I know what it's like to just be stuck and think I have no moving forward. But it is these classes that have unstuck me from being in an upset, from being angry, right? But we cannot change what has already happened. So the moving on part, the spring forward, are these 3 classes a week, because we are, especially you and your Shodanandana, are repeating the truth of Prabhupada's teachings, the Guru Tattva, the science of bhakti, right? And the association of devotees that are sincere, that are serious. So, in today's class, it's very clear that we simply glorify the wonderful pastimes of Lord Krishna, like we see in the Krishna book, the 10th canto, in the Bhagavatam. And this is the key to remaining fixed up all day and all night in Krishna consciousness, right? Srila Prabhupada said, mold your life in such a way that you remember Krishna at every moment, and especially at our last breath. So I cannot thank both of you enough. I'm eternally in your debt that you take the time every week to put these presentations together that are most pleasing to Srila Prabhupada. And I have been fortunate to meet so many great devotees as a result of these classes. And the association from these devotees are keeping me fixed up all week long in sharing realizations, right? And it is enlivening, it is potent, and it is pleasing to our spiritual master. This is the science, is please your spiritual master. There's a really great famous example of how to be a fool or how to be a servant of your spiritual master. He simply says, the master says, I would love to have, please bring me a glass of water. So the foolish disciple thinks, aha, I'm going to please my spiritual master. I'm going to bring him milk instead, because milk is better than water. Well, he's a fool. But the real disciple, he just hears the instruction, does not whimsically concoct what he thinks is better. He just brings the spiritual master a very nice glass of water. That's who we are being on these classes. We're just simply repeating what Prabhupada asked us to repeat. Very simple for the simple, and difficult for the complicated mind, right? Somehow it's difficult for those that are just not seeing the simplicity of this science. Just follow the steps, the results will be there. So thank you for calling on me, Vishwakarma Prabhu. I appreciate you very much. And thank you, Yashodanandana Prabhu, for allowing me to do these services for our team. And I'm sure there's much more advanced devotees than myself that can weigh in and speak very nicely about today's verses.
Thank you, Krishna Kata. I wanted to confirm with everyone that really what we're doing is referring to the huge volume of information that is available to all of us from Srila Prabhupada's books, his lectures, and his letters. So this is the main focal point of our presentation. And when people see the shows on our website, Hare Krishna Society YouTube page, and by the way, we're approaching 100,000 views, so we want to thank everyone that's been part of this to keep up going to these classes and gathering the information that we can provide for you. And I wanted to mention that our focus, as Yashodanandana Prabhu had so kindly explained to us, is not to concentrate on the negative aspects of what has happened in the mission, because that concentration is irrelevant. It really is. I mean, outside of learning from mistakes and avoiding them in the future, okay, that's fine. Or being aware of them and understanding what to do to help others, okay, that's also good. But really ours is a more proactive, positive look at the philosophy, like today's class. Today's class was filled with all kinds of scriptural references by Srila Prabhupada to us to clear our understanding of why we're here and what the purpose of life is and how to conduct ourselves on a daily basis. So we are more interested in moving forward, yes. And that group that we were a part of is really irrelevant to our mission. Irrelevant. Yashodanandana Prabhu, if you could wind up the discussion and we'll wind up the class.
Well, I want to address this point that because some people seem to misunderstand what our preaching approach is all about. Some people say you are not following Prabhupada's instruction to stay in ISKCON. And my answer to that is this is the real ISKCON.
Yeah.
There was a conversation on Facebook recently where somebody posted a statement by Yamuna Devi Dasi, the late Yamuna, the exalted devotee, where she went to Srila Prabhupada, and Prabhupada was asking her, so what do you do? And her and another lady named Dinatarini Devi Dasi were preaching somewhere in Oregon. And Prabhupada asked them, well, what program do you have? And she was saying, we chant and we do their usual program. And Prabhupada says, that is ISKCON. Whenever there's two or more devotees following this program, that is ISKCON. We had a similar experience where we had a program in Tamil Nadu in 1972. First, we went to Bangalore to start the preaching there. And we went to the city of Mysore and then to Coimbatore in Tamil Nadu. We had been invited there. Now, there was no official ISKCON temple in Coimbatore or Bangalore at the time. So the next time we saw Srila Prabhupada, Prabhupada asked us, so what do you do in your brahmacharis? What do you do in the morning? What? I said, well, we get up 3:30, 3:40, take a cold bath, have put tilak, have mangalarti, chant in the Singha prayers. We have Tulsi, chant japa, Bhagavatam class, Jaivanama. We were describing that to Prabhupada, and Prabhupada says, every time you do this, that is ISKCON. So our position at this program is the real ISKCON. This is the Adi ISKCON. And those who have deviated by changing the teaching, changing the instructions, disobeying the instruction of Srila Prabhupada, not to change the instruction, they're in FISHCON, the false system, the shadow ISKCON. There will be like somebody who is a lawyer or a legal student or a paralegal. He takes a law that's been passed by the legislature and he wants to change it because it doesn't fit into his agenda. So he changes the law, writes his own law, and tries to submit it before a judge. Now, judges have access to all the laws, nowadays, especially electronically. Do you think it's going to fly? That somebody is going to make their own law, write their own law book, and change the law? This is what they're doing with the changing of Prabhupada books. He has seen the truth. They have seen the truth. Jagannath Das Babaji initiated Bhaktivinoda Thakur. Oh, they didn't like that. Oh, no. They had to change that for political agenda. That is complete nonsense. It's not that we're trying to criticize them. We're speaking fact-finding. Just like investigators, when they work on a case, they just don't pick somebody and drag him to court. They have to investigate. They have to gather the evidence, submit the evidence to the district attorney and the investigators. And the district attorney decide based on the evidence, do we really have a case here? Same thing with us. We're just analyzing the facts that have taken place because many devotees have questions and they no longer want answers from the same people that created the problem in the first place. Just like the person who changes the law book is not going to be viewed very nicely by the judge. The judge is later to ask him, where did you get this law book? Who authorized you to change the law? These books given by Srila Prabhupada are directly spoken by the Supreme Personality of Godhead Krishna through Srila Prabhupada. And no one has the right, I don't care what editor nonsense they claim to be, they have no right to change the words of Srila Prabhupada. Prabhupada said on the June 22nd, 1977, if they change one word from what I've written, it will spoil everything I've done. And that's why we are constantly on this point. Thank you very much. To whom it may concern, again.
It concerns everyone. Thank you very much. Let's move forward with the chanting. Oh, Tom Chevrolet in Germany.
Germany.
Yeah. Tom, did you have your hand up or was that a mistake? Sorry, it was by accident. Okay. Well, thank you, Tom. We are getting your messages from Germany and all your references to philosophy and learning how to practice this process through Prabhupada's instructions. Thank you, everyone. We'll look forward to seeing you on Wednesday for Chaitanya Charitamrita class. Now we'll move forward with the kirtan led by, yes, Yashodanandana, please.
We're trying to organize a program for tomorrow for Janmashtami. Janmashtami is tomorrow, technically in India. And we're trying to organize a program of reading the Krishna book, The Birth of Lord Krishna. I'm just trying to see if Venkat or Rupesh can accommodate it by a Zoom connection somehow. So let us see. I'm available anytime after 6:30. We can go on for an hour and a half. We can have a little kirtan play and read the Krishna book or the Bhagavatam. Anybody is welcome to participate. Hopefully we can have somebody of our expert technical team and great devotees to try to facilitate that. And on Tuesday is Srila Prabhupada's appearance day, is Vyasa Puja. We have not yet developed a program for that, but we can again talk to Venkat Prabhu. If anybody can facilitate something, we'd be more than happy to accommodate. Hare Krishna.
Glories to Srila Prabhupada, all glories to the Sankirtan movement. Thank you, everyone. We'll move forward with the end of the program.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Let us offer our respectful obeisances to all the assembled Vaishnava devotees of the Lord. Vanchakalpa tarubhyascha kripa sindubhya evacha patitanam pavanebhyo Vaishnavibhyo namo namaha. I offer my respectful obeisances unto all the Vaishnava devotees of the Lord. We all offer our respectful obeisances unto all the Vaishnava devotees of the Lord who can fulfill the desires of everyone, just like desire trees, and who are full of compassion for the fallen souls. Thank you, everyone, for participating in this lively program. Thanks, Vishwakarma Prabhu, for managing the program, and Venkat Bhatta Prabhu in Bangalore, and Rupesh Prabhu in Bombay for managing these programs, and everybody who is participating, Vijay Pandit Prabhu, Gopika Mataji, and Chatur Bhuja Prabhu, all the wonderful Prabhus, and everybody who is engaged in hearing this. Everybody who is engaged in hearing this transcendental message of Srila Prabhupada. Grazie, grazie. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Thanks, everybody. We will try to have a program tomorrow for Janmashtami. It will be based on California time, probably around 6 o'clock p.m. or 6:30 p.m. And this would correspond to 9 o'clock, because tomorrow is fasting all day for Janmashtami. So we'll see what Venkat Prabhu and Rupesh can manage on a Zoom program and send an invitation. I will be available. We'll have kirtan and reading from the Krishna book about the beautiful birth of the transcendental Supreme Personality of Godhead Krishna, and very interesting discussion. Hare Krishna, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you all.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna.
Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare.